AITA for making my BIL homeless and embarrassing him. My sister's husband Mark left her and their 12-year-old son, Alex, about a year ago. His reason was that Alex was too difficult to deal with. I think Mark is a piece of crap who blames his son for everything. Alex is a bit hyper and he does get into trouble for being distracted, impulsive, etc., but he's not a bad kid. He loved his dad very much, but he's not stupid. He quickly figured out why his dad left and hates his guts now. Not that I blame him. He's been through a lot, and to put it very plainly, he thinks his mom might just up and leave one day too. Because of this, there will be nights where he won't go to sleep unless his mom sits with him. My sister would never abandon him like his dad did, but Alex is way too anxious. He used to wake up several times throughout the night just to make sure she was still there. His load's better now, and my sister can go to bed in her room after putting him to sleep. Obviously, we don't tell anyone in our lives about this as it would be extremely embarrassing for Alex. I only know because I currently live with them. I'm helping around the house plus with Alex. Unfortunately, Mark called a couple nights ago wanting to apologize, allegedly, and him and my sister had a pretty nasty fight about Alex, and my sister ended up telling Mark about the sleeping problem. Mark was pretty surprised, allegedly, but just hung up. I figured he actually felt some guilt towards his son for once, but I heard Alex going crazy in his room, and when I went to calm him down he just showed me his phone and he got exactly 3 texts from his dad telling him to man up, stop annoying his mom, and if he didn't man up he'd tell all of Alex's friends. I was appalled. Second my sister came home, I marched straight to Mark's mom's house, where I knew Mark was staying, and chewed him out. I don't think I'm the asshole for that, he deserved it. But Mark's mom and his sisters and their husbands and kids were home, and I told them what Mark's been saying about his own child. I didn't have to, it's none of their business, but I knew they adore Alex and his mom was extremely angry. One of his sisters even went, "WTF is wrong with you?" Now Mark's mom is giving him a week to find somewhere else to live, and he's yelling at me for essentially making him homeless and dragging his entire family into things. He called me a dumb kid and said I don't care what it feels like to be a parent and that he's human too. He admits that he could have been more decent with Alex too, so perhaps he's reflecting. I doubt it. I suppose I went too far regardless. AITA? For reference, I'm 21. My sister is 34, Mark is 35. Comments?
Not the asshole. You didn't make him homeless, you just made him accountable. And to be honest, I'm pleasantly surprised at Mark's family's response. Your sister is the one you should be asking AITA, though, as she's the one that's going to face the fallout. Alex is lucky to have aunts and uncles, including you, who stick up for him, and I hope he's able to see and engage with that love. Frankly, I hope your sister keeps Mark out of Alex's life, but that's not something you can really push for. It would need to be her, and/or Alex's, decision.
Story 2. AITA for telling my husband to stop eating like he's never seen food before. I'll try to make this short, but don't judge just off the title. I, 29F, went out for dinner with husband, 28M, last night. Nothing fancy, just a chain sports bar, and it being a Friday, the place was packed. We sit, place our order, and we're catching up on the day. Everything is going fine. When the waitress brought out our appetizer, my husband grabs about 4 decent-sized tortilla chips and scoops an actual mountain of spinach dip with them and shoved the whole thing in his mouth. And when I say shoved, I mean shoved his fingers in his mouth with the food. By the time I'd had 3 chips with some dip, the entire rest of the appetizer was gone, so I was already irked and embarrassed because of course people were staring at us. I said as much to him, and when he said he didn't see what he was doing wrong, I told him, "You're acting like you've never seen food before, it's embarrassing." He didn't say another word to me after that, and has barely spoken to me today either. I don't think I'm the asshole for telling him I was embarrassed by how he was eating and annoyed that most of the appetizer was eaten by him, but I may have taken it too far with the last comment. For further context, no, this isn't the first time this has happened. I've told him multiple times it's embarrassing when he does this and asked him why, so I can try to help or at least understand a bit better. It's only at this specific chain, and his answer always is either I don't know or that he really loves the spinach dip they have. He also does this at home, but I don't really care when he's at home because I'm not going to dictate how he acts in the privacy of our house. Also to note, because I'm sure people may ask, no, he did not grow up in a food-insecure household. They weren't rich, but not struggling that much. And neither are we struggling now. No, there is no history with an eating disorder either in him or his family. With all that said, am I the asshole? Edit. Because people keep asking the same question, so just for clarity. 1. Yes, I have had this same conversation before with him in much nicer ways and usually in private. He actively knows I hate when he eats like that. 2. Yes, he eats like this at home, but never when there are people over and not when we go to other people's homes. I don't give him shit over it because I'm not gonna police what he does when he's in private. 3. No, I'm not going to divorce him over this. I know in my head this is one of very few things we argue about. Is it annoying? Yes. But it's a wild take to tell me to divorce my husband over it. 4. We continue to go to this place because it's a cheap, convenient option for when he has a super late shift, gets out at 11 or later, because it is 5 minutes from our house and is one of the few places open at that time. 5. No, my husband is not in the military. Comments.
I would be grumpy about barely getting any appetizer, like manners aside it's just rude to hog the whole thing. I would say NTA, while I am skeptical that people were jaw-dropped staring at him eat, part of being partners is compromising. You don't mind him eating that way at home, and in return he can be more respectful and display proper etiquette in public settings.
Story 3. AITA for telling my dad's wife his lies are not my fault and she shouldn't blame me for him saying she would be my new mom. I, 17M, was forced to go to therapy with my dad and his wife Haley 3 months ago, and as of our session on Thursday I am in pretty deep shit and want to know if I'm wrong. Timeline. My mom died when I was 7. This was in September 2014. Dad and Haley met in December 2014. They started dating in January 2015. I met Haley in March 2015 at my 8th birthday party. Haley moved in with us in May of 2015. Dad and Haley got married in July of 2015. Haley always wanted to be a mom. I have heard her say it a million times. She can't have biological kids. I believe she's actually sterile and not just infertile, so like no chance. Dad knew she wanted kids. He wanted to marry again, and he wanted to have someone else take over raising me. But my dad never wanted more kids. I think Haley was a great option in his eyes. But he knew I wouldn't be okay with a new mom, that I wouldn't want to call someone else my mom. So he lied to her about it and said I would want that she'd be my new mom, but rushed the marriage so she wouldn't realize the truth. I don't accept Haley as my new mom. She has tried, and I know most of it is genuinely her trying to be a good mom, but I have a mom. She's dead, she's still my mom. I told Haley this. She ignored me and continued on like I said nothing. I spoke to Dad and saw that he wasn't going to do anything. So Haley invested all her time and effort into me. Dad was really not around much. I was trying to be independent and not rely on Haley. There were times she told me she'd help me with homework, but I'd do it in school or I'd finish it while she was doing chores. I started doing chores without her. She would always try to help, but I would do things when I'd first wake up. I started asking friends' parents if they could drive me to school. I did everything to minimize what she was doing for me. Not everything was possible. She still did cooking and cleaning and taking me to doctor's appointments. But sometimes I would pretend not to be sick to avoid it. I don't know what led to therapy, but I was forced to go with them 3 months ago, and Haley was talking about her wishes to be a mom, how her and Dad's marriage wasn't what she thought it would be, how I'm not the son she thought she was getting, and how it annoys her that I'm so cold and distant with her. Then on Thursday, after some stuff was said last week about things Dad said, I told her Dad lied, that I never wanted a new mom and he knew it. She said I shouldn't say those things and I'm just making life unfair and more difficult. That I'm not doing what I should. I told her Dad's lies are not my fault and she shouldn't blame me for him saying she would be my new mom. I told her I had no part in that. Both Dad and Haley after therapy yelled at me and called me disrespectful. Haley told me I was ungrateful and should have been thrilled to have someone else want to mother me instead of ruining her chance at motherhood. AITA? Comments.
NTA. Your dad sucks and is a massive liar. He used a lie about a sensitive topic to get what he wanted with no regard for how it would affect anyone else. Haley sucks because she clearly had unrealistic expectations about what being a stepmom would be like. She obviously wanted to be your mom, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but expected you to just fall in line and accept her as your new mom when you were still grieving the loss of your actual mom. You're not in the wrong for not seeing her as one. It's not your fault. You can't force those types of relationships. Also, the audacity to say her chance of motherhood was ruined is astounding. Your dad and she need to have a long, realistic talk.
Story 4. AITA for not inviting my son's brother to Disneyland? I, 28F, never had much growing up. We were super poor and I never got to go on a holiday or anything. My sister is 10 years older than me and I remember her promising that when she turned 18 she'd take me to Disneyland. This never happened, lol. I decided when I was pregnant I want to take my son, 7M, I'll call him F in this, to Disneyland as it's always been a dream of mine. We're not rich by any means, I'm a single parent on minimum wage, but since I was pregnant I've been saving a little each month. Me and my son's father, 39M, broke up whilst I was pregnant still. We had only been together 3 months when I got pregnant, so it didn't work out. Now his dad can be a bit wishy-washy. He doesn't see our son often, I have to call him to arrange visits, and he pays barely anything in child support. He has another son, 13M, I'll call him L. When me and his dad were living together we got along fine, I was never able to parent him or anything, but we were buddies. When my son was born my ex and L used to visit once a week and when he'd come over I'd make him dinner, play games with him so his dad could spend time with F. Eventually, my ex wouldn't show up for weeks at a time and L stopped coming around. Now, my ex is super into outdoorsy stuff, something I cannot do cause I have a disability, so he goes on these camping trips, mountain climbing, cool stuff to little boys. He's been taking L on these trips since before F was born. Since F was born, they continued their trips, but have only invited F once. F has never spent a night at his father's house, my ex just simply refuses. L has his own bedroom at my ex's and stays 3 nights a week. So I didn't think it'd be an issue that I didn't invite L to Disneyland with me and my son. I care for the kid, but I don't have any real bond with him. So I finally saved up and we're going to Disneyland in October. My son told his brother and I got a call from my ex calling me a heartless bitch cause I didn't invite his son. I'm starting to feel kinda bad. So, AITA? Comments.
NTA. Even not taking into account how your ex treats F, L is not your son, and you want to take a trip with your own family. Plus, L is 5 years older and would want to do very different things at Disneyland. Did L's dad offer to pay for L to join the trip? Seeing that he is not even your child, that would be the bare minimum, I would think. Things are completely different at your ex's house, both boys are his children so of course he would, i.e. should, treat them equally.
Story 5. AITA for not telling my mom when I had my baby. BG, my 30 years old, F, mom has always been an addict and narcissist. When I was 13 she'd let me drink and smoke all I wanted. I thought it was great as a kid. I lived in the party house and my mom was cool. When I turned 18 I realized I did not want to live in that environment. I started going to church, quit drinking the whole 9 yards. It didn't go over well and resulted in a get the fuck out of my house. However, I always tried to keep a relationship. I've been married for 8 years now. We struggled with fertility as I had multiple miscarriages and my mom has known about this. She has never been a consistent in my life since 18, but we'd at least exchange happy birthday and holiday messages, big updates, and I'd see her a handful of times a year. She lives 20 minutes away. 2 years ago I had my first child. First grandchild, I kept her updated entire time. Texts, photos, but she never reached out to me. I had a very traumatic birth but updated her when I had the baby. She never checked in PP and waited over 2 months to come visit and only seen her 3 times. She has never liked a photo on Facebook, checked in or anything. Hurt so badly. When I found out I was pregnant again, I reached out. She seemed excited but still never reached out me. I sent updates for her to barely respond. I felt like I was forcing my kids and myself into her life. In October, I had baby 3 weeks early. Through everything over the years and lack of care shown, I decided I wouldn't reach out but was open if she reached out, but nothing. She knows he was born but hasn't checked on me or baby. Baby is now 8 months. She plays victim and tells people that I am keeping my kids from her, which I'm not. I initiated all 3 visits with my first. I told her she was welcome anytime to let me know when she'd like to come. But she never calls or texts. I'm ready to wash my hands of this and go no contact, but I'm told I can't cut her out because she's my mom and I was wrong not to tell her I had my baby. But I really don't see why I should have when she has shown no care or interest. Comments.
You don't have the parent society says you should make proud. It's hard to move on and cut them out because society tells you that you should love and respect your parents and make them proud. But on the flip side, society also says that parents should love, protect, and nurture their children. She let you down. The thing that made me draw lines and break the trauma was my child. I didn't want her to grow up with the emotional manipulation that I did. Your kids are young now, but do you want to be the one explaining to them why Granny couldn't make it to their birthday party? You don't owe her. Grieve the relationship you wish you had, acknowledge the relationship you do, and cut contact.
Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.